But this just kind of hit the marks for me a little bit more. And also the fact that they're in the same world and it's just like an extension of Your Name. I don't know, man.
But that's what made Your Name so special. That was one of those massive moments in that movie. Yeah. And this movie didn't really have that massive moment, those gasp moments that Your Name had. Okay, we'll get into it.
We're recording now.
Nice. Are we recording video and audio right now?
We're recording video and audio.
Blidio and Bladio.
Right now.
Squidio and Squadio. Do you have a funny name to write on the clicker for this show?
Fordick?
What?
I don't know. It was like forecast, but it didn't work.
No, it didn't work.
That's correct.
Yeah. That is correct.
That is correct.
Weathering with poo?
Weathering with poo?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if this movie was about replace all the rain with poo?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a different movie.
It's a very different movie.
A lot more conjunctivitis going on.
With poo.
Yeah. That's pink eye, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've had that.
Poo in your eye.
I know.
That's what they say.
I think that's just confirmed. It's poo in your eye.
Yeah.
Or it's like bacteria that is also found in poo. You might be able to get it elsewhere.
But the chances are that it came from poo, considering how
Yeah.
disgusting human beings are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are a pretty gross.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty disgusting.
Weathering with poo.
I'm a child.
He wrote poo.
All right.
I love how we start every episode with one word and us laughing for no reason at all.
Because we're ridiculous.
Yeah, we're children.
Yeah, because I want to be the very best.
Yeah.
We see that.
That no one ever was.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
What's that from?
Pokemon!
Pokemon.
Today we're covering Pokemon.
Well, I'm wearing my Pokemon hat.
We're not covering Pokemon.
No, we're not covering Pokemon. Could you imagine trying to cover Pokemon now?
I can't.
Where would you start?
Literally. Where would you end?
Yeah, seriously. What movie?
You just become a slave to the Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some might say that they are.
Anyways.
Yeah, fucking PETA calls.
And a real start. Hello, everybody. What's up, Shweebs? Welcome to Anime Shmanime.
What's going on, guys?
What's up? He's Ash Ketchum.
Yeah.
I'm Jordy Hedderwick.
I'm
Yeah.
Jay Beckett.
He's actually Mikey Lee.
No, I'm actually Ash Ketchum, like later in
what?
his years. Just washed up.
Yeah.
My Pokemon are old. And
And so are you now.
yeah. They're just sitting on my couch, farting away.
What happens when Pikachu dies before Ash Ketchum?
That's sad, man. I don't
Yeah.
think about that.
I mean,
my
it's
childhood.
probably going to happen, right?
You know how many people just like close this video? They're just like, fuck this guy.
I'd like to see that story arc. I'd like to see that story arc.
Just made me think about that. How dare you?
I mean, it's going to happen, right?
might as well
People
get
with
in
their
a-
pets.
Might as well
Yeah.
get in an emotional state right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we
'Cause
should.
This is an emotional one, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Why did you look at me like that?
I thought you were going to say what it was.
No, it's just an emotional one, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but like, you know, every time the weather changes, I feel it in my knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm that guy now.
Yeah. You're old Ash Ketchum. He's
I'm
got
old.
bad knees.
I got bad knees. Fucking.
All that running around
Yeah.
and the animals fighting for him.
And, you know, being what? How old is he in the show? Like I thought this fucking podcast wasn't gonna be about Pokemon.
We could change it.
What's it really about, guys?
It's about weathering with you.
Weathering with you.
Yes.
Yep.
And so, weathering with you.
You want to do a spoiler alert first? I mean, I guess we already started spoiling. There's weather. There's rain.
Well, that's the thing. If you are just watching,
Yeah.
you guys need to know we're gonna spoil fucking everything.
Yeah. If this
And-
happens to be your first episode, then I guess the disclaimer is if you want to watch this movie without us telling you everything and like talking about it top to bottom, go give it a watch, then listen to us. If you don't care, then hang in there. Yeah.
See what this is about.
Yeah, it's pretty much a diet your name.
Oh,
It's your name zero. Right?
so remember how we, like in pre-production,
Yeah.
I was gonna like, I didn't want to move my mic away from it. I'm about to just fucking hang up.
Well, okay. It should
I don't.
it should stand to reason that you can't really watch this movie after seeing your name and not compare it to your name.
Yes.
You
Okay.
have to.
I will agree with
Right?
you there. I will
And
agree with you.
It kind of felt like a knockoff of that movie to me. It was hitting all the points, just like not quite as good.
Is it a knockoff if it's made by the same person?
That can happen though, because people fall in a rut of making the same movies over and over again. But like, there's one where they hit their peak. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. I
And
will
to
say,
me, like your name is like top notch, and this was like a step or two back from that.
okay. I will say that this one is. I actually enjoyed this more than your name.
Whoa.
So
Really?
wait. Yeah. So
I'm not
so-
surprised.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
So this is. I know. Because I had a prediction about
We're gonna have a hard
this.
time in this episode.
I had a prediction. I was thinking like you were gonna like this movie.
Yeah.
Really like it, but it wasn't gonna be as good as your name. And I get why your name was so fucking groundbreaking in the way
Yeah.
that it was.
Yeah.
And I agree. But like as far as just my overall enjoyability, is that even a fucking
Enjoyment?
word? Enjoyment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. I found this one just kind of hit the marks a little bit better, but I do think that the writing is better in your name because this movie's way more straightforward, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of like questions that are really involved. Everything's
sure.
kind of laid out for you, and I kind of like that. But I do think some of the more like intense emotional moments in this movie,
Yeah.
kind of hit a little bit harder.
I think the opposite, actually. I think the intense emotions all existed in your name, and this movie, the emotions took a back seat.
I'm
Just telling you how it feels, dude. I will say it was a fine watch. It had all the elements of a good movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your Name I watched 3 times in like 4
Yeah.
days. I'm probably not going to watch this again
But come
ever
on,
or for a while.
But how good were the callbacks? And then there's those moments where you know these kids. What's the main character's name? I'm fucking so terrible
Hodaka?
at yeah.
Hodaka?
Is it Hodaka?
Hodaka, yeah.
Yeah, Hodaka.
Hodaka.
So fucking bad with names.
I'm awful with names
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
But
we should
like-
just make up our own like we did with Ninja Scroll.
or Parasite.
Yeah.
No, like so when Hodaka like has the gun at the end there where he's pointing it at everyone just to get to was it Hida?
Hina.
Hina.
Yeah.
So like that moment where he's just
Yeah.
so intensely like needs to get to her, like willing to sacrifice, like accidentally killing somebody where
Yeah.
there's no life threatening involvement really, other than the fact that there's a friggin' comet that's
And a
gonna
person
take
who
him.
actually dies. Like that happens in your name.
Okay,
A person dies.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
but it's like I don't know. There just doesn't seem like that same kind of intensity. Like it's like when a person dies that's really famous, everybody kind of mourns that person. But when there's thousands of people that die all at once,
Yeah.
it's harder to mourn them all.
I didn't care about any of the other people in the city in your name except Mitsuha.
Mitsuha.
So like the 1,000 people didn't matter to me. She was the celebrity I cared about. So I didn't get that vibe from that. Do you know what I mean? And also I'll say like, yes, that scene was like kind of intense, I guess, but like the love story and the like relationship arc between them wasn't fleshed out like it was in Your Name. And I didn't care as much about it. If anything, like I was kind of annoyed by it in this movie compared to In Your Name.
Are you kidding?
Okay, hold on. Let me level set.
Okay.
Let me level set. Let me fall somewhere in between.
Okay, sure. Perfect.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick.
We might need it.
So I totally see where both you guys are coming from. I think the thing is with Your Name is the whole movie is about their relationship with each other. It's about them getting to know each other. They get to know each other in a way that no human being can even conceive of, right? The whole movie
100%.
is centered around them knowing each other. Homeboy wants to buy her a ring.
I know.
In the first half of the movie.
I know, dude.
He wants to buy her a ring. He thinks he loves her.
Yeah.
He's about to tell her I love you when she first starts going invisible, right?
Yeah.
And like that's a different pacing to them making these realizations. So Taki and Mitsuha, their love feels so much more well realized by the end.
For sure.
Than their connection does.
Absolutely.
But I think the circumstances that they face are like equally dramatic. And I think that the story and the narrative of this one serves that better than Your Name did, because Your Name gets really messy and really kind of loopy and really kind of crazy, that the narrative isn't as driving. It's not as easy to kind of get lost in. With this one, you're locked in and it just fucking takes you.
Yeah, you're just on the fucking roller coaster, man.
I had the opposite feeling. I felt like I was locked in on Your Name, and this movie kept losing me. It kept taking me out of it. And that's because that nothing was quite as fleshed out or as intense. Everything was kind of a little shallower. Do you know what I'm saying? Even not just the love story, but even the lore. Like Your Name was riddled with lore, and this had like little bits of it, and there was no depth to the lore. Do you understand? And granted, I'll say a lot of the lore in Your Name I learned well after the fact from talking with you guys.
Yeah.
Right. And in this movie, maybe that will happen as well too. I don't know, but I'm saying they did some explanations of the lore, but it wasn't as like integrated. Your Name, it was you say it was just about the relationship, but it wasn't just. It was also about that like rich history and that mysticism and like those elements which were like super powerful, and it wasn't there in this.
So, okay, so like I said before, I give you that one only because, like I said, it's Your Name. I think was way better written as far as like literature, like or just story goes.
Yeah.
But this just kind of hit the marks for me a little bit more. And also the fact that they're in the same world and it's just like an extension of Your Name. I don't know, man.
But
like
that's what made Your Name so special. That was one of those massive moments in that movie, and this movie didn't really have that massive moment, those gasp moments that Your Name had. Okay, we'll get into it. We will get into it. We got lots of time, but let's move on and let Jay tell us a little bit of history, if he can, after I just heard him so deeply.
No.
Jay and I are on the same page on this.
I see that from you guys. Yeah, I see that.
I just think Mikey and I had some moments watching this that somehow you missed. We'll get to that.
I'm open to you guys telling me about them and enlightening me.
So, Weathering with You, or in Japanese, Tenki no Ko, literally meaning child of weather, is a 2019 Japanese animated romantic fantasy film produced by Comics Wave Films and released by Toho. It depicts a high school boy who runs away from his rural home to Tokyo and befriends an orphan girl who has the ability to control the weather. The film was commissioned in 2018, written and directed by Makoto Shinkai, our buddy from Your Name.
Respect.
It features the voices of Kotaro Daigo and Nanamori, with animation direction by Atsushi Tamura. Character design by Masayoshi Tanaka, and its orchestral score and soundtrack composed by Radwimps.
Gotta have Radwimps in a Shinkai movie.
Yeah,
you gotta have it. I learned that now. I know that.
A light novel of the same name, also written by Shinkai, was published a day prior to the film's premiere, while a manga adaptation was serialized in July 25th, 2019. Theatrically released in conventional IMAX and 4DX theaters in Japan on July 19th, 2019, and was released in the United States on January 20th, 2020.
Sounds like they dropped the manga and the light novel and the movie like kind of all at once.
Yep.
Is that normal?
Marketing storm, especially with this one that's being created as a film first and foremost.
Right.
They're going to make those two other things.
Sure, of
They
course.
normally have those already established, right?
That's true, yeah. Interesting.
And it received positive reviews with praise for the animation, narrative, music, and emotional weight, although some reviewers were divided over perceived similarities to Your Name. The film grossed over 21.11 billion yen, which in US is 193.65 million worldwide, becoming the highest grossing Japanese film of 2019 and the sixth highest grossing anime film of all time, unadjusted for inflation.
Wow. Wow.
Did it beat Your Name? Is Your Name in that top 6?
I think Your Name is.
Yeah, it must be.
Did much better. Your
Respect
Name
to
did,
Shinkai for having 2 in the top 6.
Yeah, seriously.
That's why this movie is fucking great.
Yeah.
Absolute powerhouse.
Are there any other Japanese? I guess you don't have the top 6 in front of you there.
I don't have it right in front of me.
I'm curious.
Now, but
We'll talk
this
about
was
that.
actually one that when it got theatrical release here, I actually went and saw in theaters.
Oh, cool. That must have been sick.
It was very, very sick because,
Yeah.
like, have you ever like been like really like thirsty and like you like or like you worked out or you did a lot of work someday and then you just get a glass of water and you drink it and it's the best fucking thing you've ever drank in your entire life and it's just water but it's like it just hits different.
For sure.
That was how the water was animated in this film for me.
Interesting.
Where I was just looking at the simplest droplet of water and it was just making me feel things.
Well,
the way that
scenes,
water hits when you need to drink it and you're that thirsty, I was
Sure.
like, the water just gave me that same feeling in this movie.
For sure.
There's scenes
know?
where they're just like, it's just water droplets hitting the ground. And like, I'm trying to look at the water droplets if they reuse any animation. And they don't.
They wouldn't.
It's incredible.
Right?
wouldn't,
It's like everything is still so random and like it just makes it feel so much more natural.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and also like, come on, the little water fish.
Yeah.
That
They're
was
so cute.
breathtaking animation.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, okay.
And, like,
We'll talk about art first before we talk about, or let's just skip over world. Japan with magic. The end.
yeah.
Now we'll get into art.
In the universe of Your Name.
Well, no, hold on. Japan experiencing severe climate change.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand.
Accelerated, like beyond what it is now, but
That's true.
But a shade of what it is now.
But that's kind of like the magic. Do you know what I mean? Because it all comes about because of this mystical like
Sure.
prophecy or whatever that is
Yes.
enacting itself,
but it's
right?
kind of like an allegory to like,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay, yeah,
environmental
so-
issues, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true too. Yeah. Actually, I didn't even think about that when I was watching it, but
Ooh,
you're 100% right.
senpai, dropping knowledge.
I think that's a huge narrative theme in this, dude.
For sure, yeah. You're right that it is.
Man's desire to control weather and
Yeah.
like control nature and
Yeah.
control Earth and the ramifications that come of it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's why you need the sacrifice. Sacrifice!
It is. That is why you have to sacrifice to bring balance back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
And
in the
to
end they
relinqu-
don't.
and to,
there is
to
none of
relinquish
balance.
control.
No, that's why I feel like in some weird. Yes.
We're doing the end first, by the way.
That's fine.
Yeah. Dessert first.
Dessert. I like dessert.
Okay, let's go back to art because
Okay.
really, like, there's nothing bad you can say about the art.
No, absolutely
it is
not.
immaculate, dude. Art times 1,000,000,000%.
Especially when there's like I love when animators do like 360 panoramic views of like when
You're
they're
talking about the fireworks scene?
not just the fireworks scene when they're
Okay.
like on top of the roof and they go from behind or in front of them
Sure,
to
sure,
behind them and
Yeah.
like those angles that you would only get from actual feature films
Absolutely, yeah.
instead of in animation usually because it's so more stagnant.
Sure. When we talked about this in Your Name too, when animated films take like they do cinematography as if it's like a live action
Yes.
film, it's
Real
like,
camera movement.
It's really
Yes.
cool. Yeah, absolutely. I will say that the flyover scene with the fireworks was kind of like a 3D kind of style animation, and
It was a blending.
it
Yeah.
ruined. I didn't like that.
You didn't like that scene?
It
I
was
thought
the only
nice.
scene that was different looking,
Yeah.
and it took me out of it for a second.
But then, but in Your Name, they do the same thing with the style change when he goes into that whole dream state.
Yeah,
where,
but that's like a different state of being when he does that, right?
Yeah.
He's traveling through time. This was just a panoramic shot that they chose to use a different animation style. It broke it for me for a second.
I think,
Okay.
honestly, I think it was to pull off the fireworks. I think,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, for sure it was.
I
I
imagine
can
it's
tell
got to be
why.
the hardest thing to hand animate would be fireworks.
sure, yeah.
So to make fireworks happen, you kind of got to go to CGI on it.
I guess you got to. It just
you
didn't
end up
land
with
for
a
me.
weird
I would have
blend.
rather not done the fireworks. They weren't that important, I think. Do you know what I mean? That scene in general, I wouldn't have missed them.
Well, that scene was very important because that was when she got caught on camera.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that's exactly what Jay's saying, right?
Yeah.
Like she gets caught on camera. That's also when she, I think she figures out that she can't do it anymore because she's starting to disappear.
Wait, she can't
that-
not do it anymore.
That reveal is when he's about to say "I love you."
Yeah, that's when she reveals.
She starts floating up in the
yeah.
air.
Yeah.
But I think she knew beforehand.
Oh.
I don't know. I can be wrong. Shweebs,
I legit
Shweebs
missed that
making the fucking comments.
I legit missed that
You're
there was a
probably
time
right.
where she couldn't do it anymore.
Well, like
I missed that.
where if she kept praying, she was just going to disappear because she was becoming all transparent.
I see. It's not that she couldn't. She lost the power. She just was faced with a choice.
Yeah, faced with that choice. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah. Okay, let's finish up on the art. Like, there was a color scheme in this movie that was breathtaking to me. It was green, blue, and gray. Everything. And it was so bright and vibrant, and I couldn't stop looking at it. Also, the texture. The way they texture things is fucking brilliant, dude. To the point where like dingy, grungy like scenes have this like magic to them because the nature's growing in. So there's these gray, dingy, like derelict areas of Tokyo, I'm assuming. And then there's like green and blue water and plants growing into them, and they're textured. I don't know, man. It was unbelievable.
The use of certain focal points, like especially at the end there where the building is like just demolished and you can just see the shrine at the top and everything else.
Yeah, it's
right?
a great
like
shot.
You just see that vibrant red shrine. Yeah, it's so nice.
Everything about the art was amazing. There was a cooking scene in her apartment. And what she's making, everything's so bright. And I was like, I was hungry.
Yeah,
hungry. Like immediately, I was like, I need to eat all that food. Yeah, it just looked amazing.
Or when she like cuts up the green onions with the scissors.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I'm so Asian because I do the same thing.
I've never cut green onions with my scissors because it's going to gum up your scissors.
No, man, this is what Asian people do.
I guess that's
got
true.
those onion scissors.
Onion scissors. There's literally legitimately onion scissors.
What?
Yeah, dude, I have onion goggles.
Okay, but that's just because you're a wimp.
No, because
A rad wimp?
A rad wimp?
A very non-rad wimp.
Fuck you, man.
Sorry, buddy. Okay, I have one more note on art, and I don't even know if it's an art note necessarily, but like product placement in an animated film.
I also noticed that too.
Is there a precedent for that in animated films? Because I don't know if I could ever recall that ever.
There is a little bit, and it's usually stuff that's on this scale that's this anticipated. The sponsorships will jump in.
For sure. I'm big ones. McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's
Maker's
is
Mark
huge.
whiskey, Seiko makes watches. They were huge, and I'm sure there were more that I just didn't recognize. There were names on all the buildings.
How anticipated this was, man. This is the follow up to a record breaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This
fair
was
enough.
like high hopes on this one. And, you know, like for another example, the most recent Gundam movie that came out had Jollibee. It takes place in the Philippines, and there's a huge scene at a Jollibee. Dude.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of McDonald's, we can segue into music with that because at one point when Radwimp first started playing, because it wasn't the opening track, wasn't them. It was score,
it wasn't.
right?
It was,
And anyways, when you got your first Radwimp song, I was okay. There it is. I needed that.
Yes.
And in my mind, I'm like, they kind of sound a little less emo and like pop punk and a little more like Barenaked Ladies. And then the next scene, I realize he falls in love with a McDonald's girl. I fucking died, dude.
Shut up.
Yeah, and I don't mean to imply that was in any way intentional, but it was literally my thought process was like, oh, they sound a little like Barenaked Ladies.
Put that in my brain right now.
I would love to find out that was intentional.
That would be funny. That's probably more coincidental than anything.
It's got to be,
but
yeah.
I would be
I was right on
very
Gorillas
surprised.
in Soul Eater, so who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
And then, so yeah, Radwimps was fine, but it wasn't as impactful as Your Name. Like the songs they gave to Your Name were so powerful. The songs they gave to this didn't really have the same impact.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with as far as that goes.
Music was better in Your Name
Yeah,
for me.
For sure, big time. I will say the score was good in this movie.
I think it was
especially
appropriate.
in the big moments, right? There was that snow scene had really cool like ambient music, like intense shit going on, and the closing scene as they're plummeting towards the earth, the music was just massive, huge music. And like that's like part and parcel with, I guess, every Shinkai movie. Like he's gonna always pull that out for that, right?
Yeah.
He's got it, man.
Yeah, he's got it.
Got to hit you extra hard.
I think that's the other thing, though. Like we're looking at the sequel, really, to Your Name, right? And it's so hard to follow that up when you have such a banger like that.
Yeah.
And to
High bar.
and to constantly be pumping that out.
Yeah.
I like that's why I think I enjoy this a little bit more, because usually you don't get something this good as a sequel.
See, and again, it was fine, but to me, it felt like a sequel. It felt like an afterthought. It felt like a let's do that again, but they just couldn't quite get there this time because they already did it to its full potential, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I should say that like I'm the guy who always finds the thing, the version of the thing that he loves once, and then doesn't ever bother with the other versions of that thing. It happens with bands, like there's, you know what I mean? And genres of music, food, everything. I find the one thing that I like, and then I don't, all the other variations can go away.
Yeah, it's like well, because like I think most of our fans who are listeners who have seen the Beck episode, they'll know like it's the same thing for us, really. Like, I have, if I'm feeling like I listen to hardcore music, I'm gonna listen to Hatebreed, and then I'm not gonna really listen to anything else because all the other new bands just make me want to listen to Hatebreed.
And I like a lot of hardcore, but if I'm gonna listen to like a very heavy melodic hardcore album, it's gonna be Misery Signals. Yeah, it's gonna be Of Malice, and I'm not gonna worry about all the Misery Signals clone bands. I don't really care about any of them. I'm not gonna listen to any of them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, I feel you. I feel you there.
But like this is like not listening to any other Misery Signals albums except for that one album.
But that's what I do. I only listen to Of Malice. Okay. Don't worry about any of their other albums.
Even of the same group.
Yeah. I'll give them a shot every time when they get released, and I might listen to it once or twice. But like, I will listen to Of Malice like all the time
for sure. And
the other ones, sometimes I'm like, I should probably go back to that.
And that first one is always going to hit differently, and it's always going to hit harder. And I wonder how these would have hit you if you had seen this one first.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
You know what I mean? Especially because like, dude, Shinkai does not like your name.
He does not
like that people like your name. He thinks it's incomplete. He thinks it's unfinished. It was rushed. It's not balanced. It is not his favorite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is this his favorite? How many more does he have?
A handful, but like, you know, these are his big two. These are definitely the top two.
Yeah.
Right?
They're the Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, and I don't have an exact quote or anything, but I feel like
what are you talking?
I'm proud of myself.
Ghibli, man, fuck yeah. Ghibli. Sorry, that's true. By the way, we were talking about it before. Ghibli versus Ghibli. You say Ghibli. It is Ghibli.
I win.
Ghibli.
I win again. I am senpai.
Yeah. I've said Ghibli my whole life, and I will never again.
Okay?
Really?
Yeah, you changed.
I mean, you still can. It doesn't matter.
No.
All right.
I'm never wrong.
Yeah. Fair enough. You were that time, though.
Okay, so anyway, the music, I will say, is more appropriate for the, like, he picked the music to appropriately depict this movie.
Sure, and again, it was great.
It's great.
Your name was better.
Yeah. And okay, I agree with you there. You know what's also great?
What's that?
Is when you're listening to this podcast, and while you're listening to it, go to the comments section or like, subscribe, comment, rate, rate, all that things. You can also listen to your fingers tapping on your keyboard.
How about that tap?
I don't know.
Tap.
You just gotta tap it in.
Tap, taparoo.
Taparoo.
Give it a little tappy.
What, are you too good for your home?
Man. In all seriousness, though, a subscriber rating goes a long way. We'd really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'd love it. Okay, let's move on and talk a lot of about characters.
Characters, yes.
I'm really sorry.
Oh, come on!
I'm really sorry, dude.
You have to. Okay, before we go off on the. You can't tell me that there's characters that you dislike. You have to at least like one.
You're right. I didn't dislike them.
Okay.
I didn't dislike the characters.
Okay.
In fact, I downright liked a lot of the characters.
Okay. I can work with that.
But I wouldn't say there's a lot of development. And we talk about this a lot. Mikey's face went dead for a second there when I said that.
I killed a small part of him this day.
Yeah. Okay, so Hodaka is an exception.
Yes.
He gets quite a bit of growth from his meek, homeless, like, runaway. And he becomes a passionate, kind of reckless, like, young hero type.
Yeah.
So he grows. A lot of the other characters, I would argue, don't quite get development, but what they get are, like, character reveals.
Yeah,
so,
but
like,
they're supporting characters.
Fair. I understand. And that's fine. That's fine. And you're right. I shouldn't judge them as harshly as I would have judged Hodaka.
Yeah.
And he did fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His development was fine. Hina as well, I would say I didn't see a lot of more development in her either, to be honest with you. I mean, she was more of a mechanism than a character in this movie for him to play out his part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even at the beginning of the movie, like, he's the one narrating, that it's, the only story that we can.
And whereas your name is like equal parts Taki and Mitsuha, you have to, they're like 50-50. This is like a 70-30 or maybe even an 80-20 as far as like their involvement in the story.
60-40, maybe 65-35.
Okay.
No, listen.
You gritty ass motherfucker.
I think it's undeniably Hodaka's story at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just think it's hard to give it that drastic of a split when she's got the power, she's got the magic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she's the mechanism by which there is a story.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
even though it isn't her story, she is so integral to the story that,
Yeah.
that I wouldn't necessarily say it's like 80-20. That's
I'm only saying as like a character, like, you know what I mean? As like a human being, like I said, as a mechanism, yes, 100%. She's probably like even more, you could flip it. You could flip the 80-20 to her if you're talking about like mechanisms for moving the plot.
But as far as you're saying as far as how much you get to know them,
yeah.
that I agree with.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
But yes, I get
Yeah.
it.
No, that's
And we
true.
were spoiled with Your Name because we
So
really
much
get
so.
to know both those characters.
Yeah,
so
and because this
unbelievably
movie
well.
resembles it so much, not having her play a bigger role as a character was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah,
I get that.
I
Yeah.
also think the other thing too is that because when we recorded Your Name,
Yeah.
it wasn't really that long ago to this recording.
No,
so
you're right. Yeah.
So the freshness of Your Name is still lingering there, right?
Totally.
So comparatively,
Yeah.
that's
And
what we're
we
gonna
also
default
just
to.
dropped the episode before we recorded this episode, like a
Yeah.
week or two ago, and so it's really fresh, really fresh for me.
Yeah, so,
So-
it's you're a little bit more biased.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that bias because again, I really loved Your Name like
Yes,
a lot, and
that's
this
true.
movie was fine. It's fine.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna talk about this when we do the rating again.
Okay, we will. Okay, the other characters, like you said, are all supportive, but some
Yeah.
of them like were interesting. Like I always forget his name, but I called him Big Bro Dude, the like tabloid writer guy who
Oh,
like
yeah,
takes
like
him
the
in.
father
Keisuke.
figure.
What's his name?
Keisuke.
Keisuke?
Suga.
I'll try to
Suga.
remember.
Yeah.
So
Suga.
him and
Suga.
his niece, who you find out was his niece later on, which is a funny reveal.
Not
man.
Natsumi. Yeah,
A
yeah.
funny
yeah.
reveal. Yeah.
I love that.
Come on, that niece is fucking hilarious.
She's funny, dude. She was a great character.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Their relationship is cool because it's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah.
And not just the two of them, but when Hodaka gets enveloped into that as well too. So that's like, are they dating? Oh no, wait, they're uncle and niece. Is Hodaka like acting like a child figure to them? Oh no, they're just like three people hanging out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I dug that vibe between
Yeah,
them.
but she also like at the beginning saying like, "What's your relationship?" She just trolls him and gives
Yeah.
him the pinky
Yeah.
to signify, "Ooh, maybe I'm a mistress."
I don't know what that means.
That's
pinky?
what, the pinky. So I think in Japanese culture, it's usually like they're banging.
Okay, I would have never known that.
Yeah.
I would have never known
I
that.
don't. Yeah, I don't.
Or in anime, usually
Yeah.
when I see it, like again, I'm not an anime expert.
Yeah.
We're just fucking dudes who like anime.
Yeah, fair enough.
But every time I've seen it, they always allude it to being like they're either seeing each other in a sexual way.
Okay.
You know what, Shweebs? You guys can fucking correct me. Write it down in the comments
Yeah.
or message or whatever you do.
Educate us.
Educate us.
Yeah, be senpai to us.
Yeah.
You're probably absolutely right. I just know she mentioned like in passing, she was just like, it's exactly what you think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's fucking with him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's totally
But that's
fucking
part
with
of their dynamic, right? They're
Yeah.
all just kind of three people
like-
hanging out casually and having fun.
Yeah,
Like,
you just
Yeah.
looked at my breasts.
yeah. Yeah. And then later on, he stares at them and she gives him shit for it. It's fucking
Again,
great.
I loved it
Yeah.
both times.
That
Both
was great,
callouts
yeah.
were
But
fantastic.
that's totally like that's age appropriate for what a 16-year-old would do.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
Yeah.
funny and appropriate.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Yeah. Also, their cat is fucking adorable.
Oh my god!
And I liked how they
Yeah.
anthropomorphized it with its facial expressions. Like
Yeah.
it was either mirroring or like opposing whoever it was in the scene with. I thought that was fucking cool.
and then he got chunky by the end.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love
totally.
me a good chunky cat.
Yeah.
that's
Chunky
the best.
neckos are like the cutest.
Does Neko mean cat?
Neko is cat.
Gotcha.
Oh, learning.
Learning.
You see how good are the subs?
Yeah.
You better.
Do you
fucking
know, I watch subs. I kind of only watch subs because sometimes I don't have time to watch it twice.
Oh, Shweebs.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Whoa.
That's not to say that
I don't know what's happening right now.
to be fair, it's not to say that I like ultimately prefer it like as a hands down. Like
Yeah.
I honestly think in the end I don't care. But like, yeah, I don't
It
know.
is better.
I guess, yeah.
No,
I don't know. If
I
it's-
just need to hear
I
you
don't know
say
if
it.
it's- sure.
I need to hear
Mikey?
you say it. It's better.
Do we need to hold hands?
Yes.
Okay, Mikey.
Yeah.
It's better.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's leaps and
I don't-
bounds better. It might just be marginally.
Why can't you just stop it there?
I'm just-
Why can't you just stop it there? Just say it's better.
I'm just
That's
living my
it.
truth.
That's it.
Living my truth.
With my truth.
That's
Yeah.
all I needed. Why did you have to ruin it?
I'm just living my truth. I'm just being honest. I don't want to mislead you because I care about you.
Well,
Aw.
I'm gonna wash my hands now.
Because he doesn't care about me.
Oh,
Oh my god. Okay.
You gonna be all right? Okay.
Yeah, moving
That's
on.
kind of it for characters, to be honest with you. I don't think there really were any more.
Well,
I mean,
there's Senpai,
Hina's brother,
is super cute.
I guess.
He's like little ladies man.
I guess.
Yeah.
Nagisa.
It's fine.
Nagi.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He was
Yeah.
such an interesting character, man. He's just like this young, like kindergarten playboy who's like taking like date appointments throughout his whole day with all like the young girls around him. Who,
Well, he calls up his ex-girlfriend while he's being watched by the police officer
to help him in his scheme.
It's like, I can't believe you brought me.
That was good,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, like he's,
Yeah, that was funny.
You got to
So
admit that
funny,
that was a funny moment, man. When
It was funny. You're right. It was a moment. I don't think it was like super integral, and it like wasn't so engaging to me that I even made any notes about him.
But it was fine. It's a good way to play off of. Fuck, what's the main character's name again? Hodaka's insecurities.
Sure,
Right?
I
Like
guess
to
so.
kinda,
I
like,
didn't
bring
need
them-
that to have like his insecurities were pretty well established without him. In my opinion.
Yes, but it's just
Yeah.
a nice thing to play off of.
I think it adds emotional weight having him
Yeah.
in the picture, and also the dynamic of it helps build out Hina's character as well, because she's his guardian and she does so much to try and seem like an adult and like she's in control and like everything's okay for him.
In that regard,
So
as a plot mechanism, yeah, I'm there for it.
Yeah.
As a character,
Well, it also adds to his character, Hidaka's Hidaka.
Hodaka, you'll get it by
Jesus
the end of this.
Fucking
You'll get it.
motherfucker. Hodaka's growth too, because eventually, like in the winter scene, like when they're trying to find a place to stay, he like acts like the big brother figure and tries to protect them, right?
Yeah.
And so like he sees that, like, this is my senpai, but like I still have to take care of him. He's still younger than me.
Sure. I don't know. Didn't bother me. That his character in general was inconsequential to me. I understand you guys like him, but it was fine.
Okay,
It was fine.
I'm sorry when he busts through at the end and he tackles that guy and he's got tears in his eyes and he looks over at Hodaka and he's just like, "You go get my sister back right now."
That was an intense scene.
That was an intense
Dude,
scene.
yeah, that got me.
Sure.
Dude, like he's just bawling his eyes out. He's like so sick and tired of this. He didn't ask for any of this shit. He's just a little kid who wants his big sister back.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
emotional weight, bro.
I
That's
didn't
what it
actually
added.
get that heavy emotional feeling there. Sorry, guys.
You're fucking cold, man.
Dude,
Robot.
I'm not.
You're dead inside.
This movie was fine. He was fine.
Is that why your hands were so cold when we were holding them?
Are they cold?
I don't know.
It's chilly in here a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't know. Okay, let's move on from characters because I
Okay.
think we covered them all now.
Yeah.
We'll do the plot. So
Okay.
the first scene, we're in the hospital, and my first thought is, shit, I'm gonna cry. Because I know how intense your name is.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna give me hospital in a movie that's like your name, I'm like, this is gonna destroy me.
Yeah.
Okay. That didn't happen, as we established.
Yes.
But it's fine. And then she walks up to the roof where there's like a shrine to dick-shaped vegetables.
Okay. I actually like those little.
It's literally an eggplant and a cucumber.
But they're cute. It shows. I don't know really what it shows.
Anyway, so I will say as well too, the shrine, while like kind of cool looking, was much less significant in the story than your name. In fact, there was no backstory for the shrine.
Yeah.
At all, or even its mechanism for how it works. You know what I mean? Or who built it and why it's there. Whereas, like in your name, the shrine is an integral role in the whole movie. You're gonna explode on me in a second here.
Because you don't get any background on it in your name either.
Yeah. You don't get.
Yeah, you do. Her family's
Who
been
built
taking
it?
care of it for years and years. It doesn't matter who built it. It's what it does and how it works. Her family's been looking after it for years and years and years. It's the mechanism for traveling back in time. It exists in what's the in-between world, the netherworld or whatever. It exists in that world. There's lore about it.
But
This
it's
is
the
just a
same-
triangle on the roof with a couple of vegetable dildos around it. That's it. No words about it at all.
Angry people.
No words about it at all. What building is it even on top of?
It's on top of like an abandoned building,
Yeah.
like a decrepit building, but it is the mechanism for Hina
Yeah.
to become the weather maiden.
Okay.
Right? Like it's she passes
it grants
through.
wishes.
Right.
Grants wishes. She saw like
It doesn't
literally
grant
that-
wishes.
No. But
It
like,
grants prayers. It answers
yeah.
prayers.
Yeah, and like
Does it?
hopes.
What I saw is it launches whoever walks through it into the sky because it made her a sunshine girl. It didn't make him a sunshine girl when he went through it.
No, but that's
No,
the thing.
it
he
answered
didn't
his
have-
prayer, which
yeah.
was to find her.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, it just wasn't.
That's the mechanism by which
Yeah.
it works. So the only thing that this doesn't have that Your Name did have is that there's a family that's been taking care of it for years.
Yes.
Or that it exists in the middle of some
there's
crater
ceremonies
somewhere.
built around it with the fucking spit booze.
That's a different
sake.
shrine.
No. That's
That's
the
Your
one-
Name shrine. Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's ceremonies built around the shrine in Your
Yeah.
Name. It's integral to the story, not just as a mechanism.
Okay,
Do you see what I'm saying?
So let me
In this movie, it's just a mechanism.
Okay, so let me
with
explain
vegetable dicks.
Your dicks. So in Your Name, they
Yeah.
establish that it's a shrine that's been taken care of.
Yeah.
You're in fucking Tokyo,
Okay.
where it's a metropolis where there is literally they forgot about tradition to a degree, right? They
Sure.
forgot about like how to take care of these places.
Yeah.
Right. So this one little shrine, you don't need the backstory because you kind of have the idea that it's already in this metropolis.
It survived.
It's surviving.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden you've got all this weather that happens and this one girl with, just a prayer to like save her mom.
Yeah.
Right. Finds, and it's just happenstance. And so many great anime stories just in general happen because of happenstance.
Coincidence.
Coincidence, right?
I just
It's-
don't love it. And again, when I'm comparing to Your Name, which sadly I had to, I couldn't
Yeah.
not. It just didn't. There wasn't enough of that shrine to make it important the way it was important in Your Name. I get that it was the mechanism. I get it. It just wasn't.
It's a
It just
gate.
wasn't a well fleshed out, explained mechanism. It just kind of happened. And yes, okay, happenstance happens in anime. Fine. It didn't work as well for me as a shrine with like a backstory and a rich history that like. You knew it was going to have purpose. This one was just a thing on a building, and she walked through it. You know what I mean? To me, that's how it landed to me.
Okay.
Yeah. And so now she's flying in the sky, and there's waterfish in the sky,
Yeah. How cool is the
which was cool.
waterfish?
Looked really cool.
Yeah.
Looked really cool.
I love that about this movie
Yeah.
more than I liked about Your Name.
The
Because
visuals?
the visuals.
Yeah.
Because I also like critters.
I do also like critters, and
Yeah.
I'll give you that the like critter element was cool. Whereas in Your Name, it was all city and comet.
Mm-hmm.
The comet was the only thing kind of magical, right? And in this, you're right. There was like
Spit
there was a little more Ghibli in this,
Yes.
which I appreciate because that's like my only foundation for anime, and there's a lot of that I love, and a lot of it has to do with magical critters and shit, right? Yeah, so here we'll have to talk about this again. Sorry. But that intro scene in the hospital, which is just a scene that's actually from later in the movie, didn't need to be the intro scene in the movie, man.
Why not?
Because later on, they give it to you as a flashback to explain how she became the Sunshine Girl in the first place. I didn't need to be that to be the first thing I saw. I always prefer a movie to start when the movie starts. Personally.
I don't know. I like when things like need to be hashed out a little later, like kind of like how the end is the beginning kind of thing, where you see it, you don't really know what it is, but it's in the back of your mind for like most of the time, and then you finally get, oh, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Fair.
Sometimes that's nice to see, especially.
It bothered me. But also because it bothered me in Your Name. And so when I saw it in this movie, and then right after it, you get the intro music, and then
Yeah.
you get the first scene in the movie, I was like, here it is again.
Yeah.
All the feelings are coming back.
Yeah.
Another parallel with Your Name is when we first meet Hodaka in the first scene. Am I saying right? Does it matter? Did we care?
I think so.
Okay, Hodaka. He's got a completely unexplained bandaged face.
Yeah.
Both movies when you meet the main character.
So this is my theory on it, and because I kind of grew up in a old school Asian household where like corporal punishment is the way you discipline your kids.
Oh, I see. You think he got beat up and that's why you had to run away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of my thing.
take
That's
it.
why he didn't want to go back like ever. Like
take it.
I've had many times where I'm like, I'm gonna run away from this fucking place, right?
Sure.
Because of that.
Yeah.
right? And like I'll figure it out.
Yeah. True. I believe that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it totally paints the picture that he was running from a rough situation prior.
And I did have that thought as well too, to be honest with you. It just like struck me that both movies had that element with no explanation and no words. It just kind of occurred.
I think
Weird,
that
right?
also might just be a cultural thing too.
It might also
right?
just maybe be his signature. Like maybe that's a Shinkai thing.
Yeah.
For all I know.
Like he's trying to put in, like, I mean, this is all, theory really.
Yeah.
Where like maybe he himself had like that kind of rough upbringing, and that's where he's always painting him like the main character.
He's putting
from.
a bit of his own upbringing into every main character. Sure,
Yeah.
I'll believe it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, he's on the boat. He gets.
I'm on a boat.
And this is where we first see one of those giant water bubbles in the sky, and it just like falls on the boat, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And it almost washes him away, and he gets saved.
Yeah.
Here's a question I have, and we don't have to go too deep into it, but like it never really quite gets explained. Why is he so obsessed with standing out in the rain? This is the first time you see it, and happens a couple other times where like he just wants to stand out in the rain and get wet.
I'm just gonna make shit up here.
On par, yeah, that's your brand.
No, fuck you. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But I feel like for him, it's like cleansing. Right? Like
Okay.
sometimes, like, don't you ever go out in the rain, just feel like, it's just nice to be out in the rain once in a while?
No, not really.
I've done it a couple times where I was like, oh, this is, it's different. Normally, I fucking hate the rain.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it.
You know what,
but,
dude?
like,
Honestly, hate to interject in you, but I think I actually, like, just from my own thought process, figured it out.
What?
It's the fucking giant water bubbles in the sky.
Oh, that could be it too.
He wants to go see it when it happens.
Yeah.
Let's go
Let's
with
go with that one.
I like that. All right.
Hey!
We're doing it.
we agreed.
Okay, so
Fuck, only
he's-
took how many fucking
We got one,
episodes?
yeah. We figured it out. The episode's done. Thank you guys for watching, guys. We're Anime Shmanime. Anyways, okay. Okay, so he's homeless in Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
He ran away from home. His backpack and money belt is not subtle. Like, you're clearly a guy
Yeah.
who doesn't belong walking around Tokyo, right? Which was kind of cute. I like that. And he's carrying around a copy of Catcher in the Rye, and they make a point to zoom in on it a few times. And I'm like, that's a little on the nose. Like, okay, we get it. You're Holden
Yeah.
Caulfield. You're depressed. You're alone in a city. No
Yeah.
direction in life. Okay, fine. It just was a little too, like, they didn't have to zoom in on it. Sometimes those things are fun when they're subtle.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, but I think that's the charm of this particular movie.
Yeah.
Where it kind of spells everything out for you, and you just it's a candy movie, right? You don't have to think. You don't have to really work your brain in any way.
I wanted to think for this one, though.
Because you're so used to your name.
I know,
and
dude.
you want
I
everything
know,
else
dude.
to be like this cerebral thing. Just fucking enjoy a movie for once, right? Just go for the ride. It's
Yeah.
okay to just eat candy.
Candy's good.
Candy is good. Fucking candy milk.
Okay, well, again, didn't hate the movie. Okay, there was just a lot of there was a lot of little
Yeah.
things for some reason. Like whereas Your Name, I had a hard time nitpicking. This one was easy for me to nitpick. Okay, it was a fine movie. I'm gonna keep saying that to hopefully make you feel better, but
for
I
our
think it's
listeners,
making
I'm
you feel
just
worse.
shaking my head.
It's making you feel worse. Okay, so let's move on. So he's randomly harassed by some asshole in like a doorway or whatever.
Yeah.
Who ends up playing a key role,
Role,
kind of.
yeah.
And then he knocks over the garbage can and finds a gun, which is kind of a big deal, right? And
There's
we'll
already
get-
foreshadow with that too.
That's right. There was like a news thing about
Yeah.
like there's random guns showing up all around the city, right? We'll get into that later. So for now, he panics about the gun, and so he goes to find Sugo.
Sugar.
Shuga?
Sugar.
He goes to find Shuga, the guy who saved him. And I assume that's because the gun. Like he was fine being homeless up until that moment. He finds the gun. He's like, okay, this is too much for me. I got to go find this guy. That's when he gets the first long, close look at that girl's boobs. Because for some reason he thinks it's a dude. Right?
Well, no, because he goes in, he doesn't know
he
what
thinks
he's
it's the
walking
guy,
into.
but he thinks
right?
it's the guy
Yeah,
for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, sure, because it's like she's sleeping, but
Yeah.
like, if you're a 16-year-old boy, you
Yeah.
see a girl sleeping.
Yeah.
What 16-year-old boy isn't going to check out other girls?
Sure, but that's not what he was doing. He was trying to figure out if it was him or not, and it
Yeah.
clearly wasn't. Anyways.
Yeah. Moving on.
Silliness, nitpick, annoying shit that bugs me. So here's a weird thing. He never tells them about the gun, which I thought was the whole reason he went there.
No, the whole reason was because he knew that if anything happened or
Yeah.
like he needed anything, the guy
Sure.
said, "Call me up."
Yeah, and I guess he's like living on the street.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, he doesn't tell them about the gun, which I think is important to the story. It just felt weird to me that you wouldn't go and tell a guy, be like, hey, I found a gun. I have this gun.
A 16-year-old boy finds a gun.
If I'm 16 and I have a gun, I'm either not taking it or telling someone about it immediately.
Okay, first of all, you're 16, you're in Tokyo by yourself,
Yeah.
don't know anybody.
Yeah.
You find a gun.
What are you going to do?
I'm gonna keep that gun.
Really?
I don't know where I am. I'm in a new city. I've never been. He's a country bumpkin.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to protect himself. This seems like a good idea. Or like he thinks that it's a toy.
We'll chalk it up to he's misguided.
He's
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot. I would say
Sure.
there is a very good number of kids who would keep the gun.
Maybe. All right. I wouldn't.
Because you were probably brought up well.
You're right, I was. That's a good point. I'm not Hodaka. Fair enough. Okay, so we meet these guys, and they run a business writing articles for tabloid, like National
Yeah.
Enquirer, World Weekly News, shit like that, which I read a shit ton of when I was a kid. So that was kind of cool to me that there was that element. And here's
like
where...
Bat Boy.
Yeah. Oh, Bat Boy was the shit, dude. I loved Bat Boy. Okay, so we get a taste, speaking of Bat Boy, we get a taste of the lore that this film is like based on, I'll say in quotes, because like it's light, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
So there's like this sunshine, they're doing interviews, that's how we learn, right? They interview this like psychic lady, and she teaches them about the sunshine girl, something called a rain girl, and they have animal spirits like a fox and a dragon, and like none of this shit really comes into play.
Yeah, but I mean that's a whole tabloid
I understand.
experience of going through all that. He's getting into his role as a tabloid writer.
But they're also building the lore on which the main mechanism for the movie is put into play, and they're just giving you a bunch of extra shit on top of it, and so it's leaving me to pick out what's important. And I know it all gets fleshed out later, but like they gave me like a good chunk of lore, and then the movie was just this slice of it pulled out.
But I feel like that's kind of how a lot of lore and mythology kind of goes. It's a bunch of different stories that people have passed down, and it changes.
Yeah.
And so there's never going to be one accurate story. That's just going to be all these other ones, but there's this one little...
I'll give you that.
I'll
give you
got
that
one.
But I will say that compared to Your Name, which had such rich lore, and it was all so integrated and woven really well, more than I even knew, as Jay taught me.
I love Your Name and all that, but like, how much more? Because like the lore that you're getting out of Your Name, because like they never really explain anything other than there's a comet.
Yeah.
It comes every so often.
Yeah.
And this family has been experiencing strange things when it happens.
Yeah.
And they've somehow in their tradition connected it to the braiding of cords.
Yeah.
That's incredibly vague.
I know, but it's
That's
so
not
but it's so interwoven throughout the whole movie, and also the red thread shit that I learned about. And that, like, honestly, like if we were gonna bump scores up and down after the fact, but we're thinking about it, that bumped it for me even more. That lore was so rich and deeply interwoven in the story. I love that.
For sure.
I love that. And this didn't quite have that sort of element that I wanted out of it. And that's just my
I felt
opinion.
like this almost gave like a little bit more in some ways than Your Name did, as far as the actual lore behind it.
It gave it more.
We got imagery. We got like the dragons.
Yeah, but then none of that came into play, is what I'm saying, right? So it almost felt like little red herrings or like little like pieces that didn't really add because they weren't present. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, they were present at the end there when
There was no dragon.
there was
fox.
there wasn't like the actual dragon, but there was something that looked like a fucking dragon.
When he's flying through the air
and
at the very beginning, it's very stormy when he first starts
Yeah, I
falling.
kind of thought it was like a whale because I thought we were like in an ocean in the sky.
Yeah,
But you're
kind
right,
of
it could have been a dragon. It
whaley
could have been a dragon,
dragon.
yeah.
Like, I mean, any kind of mythological creature made out of a cumulonimbus.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
A cumulonimbus?
what is it? What's it called again?
Cumulonimbus?
Cumulonimbus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah.
Okay, so
He was close, Jordy.
Yeah.
yeah, cumulonimbus.
I just wanted to use a big word.
And you failed.
Fuck you.
Okay, one more lore thing I'll talk about that was like kind of like just completely ignored is they kind of make a point to bring up a concept that the dead can come back to life.
When did they do that?
That when she's doing her like Sunshine for Hire job,
Yeah.
and there's a little fire in the backyard, and they're talking about how they're doing that ceremony because they say every year at this time of year they can bring the dead back, and that never happens. And then she gets in her head and she starts talking about her mom who died, and so they build this theory
I
that
see what you
maybe
mean.
her mom is going to come back.
So I think
Never
that's
happens.
I think that's more of a cultural thing that you miss, because I think that's something that happens in Japan as like like, you know, lighting the lanterns, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And so like for us as a Western viewer, right, we kind of see that it as, oh, is this another mechanism, when that could just be like,
You're right.
you know, a tradition.
You're right.
Yeah, we look at it too literally.
Yeah, and me especially when I'm watching movies with a
Yes.
notepad and a pen and trying to
Which
figure
is
it out.
understandable.
Yeah. But I did keep thinking that her mom was going to play such a bigger part and maybe come back and stuff like that, and it didn't really, to be honest with you.
No, but it did though, because it it's her reason why she tried to get a job, lied about her age.
Yeah.
Right. Like if her mom didn't die, then what would she like? The whole mechanism would be different for her.
As a mechanism, you're right. It caused her to be alone and to be in charge of her brother.
Yeah.
But that's the only to make that again your intro scene that she's dying and it's a whole big deal, and then to later on talk about her coming back from the dead, and then none of that really panned out, right?
Yeah, but it's just nicely laid out for you to be like, oh, that's why she's sad. That's why she's doing what she does. It's just
it was
just
there.
there.
Her
And it was fine.
motivator.
Yeah, it was her motivator.
It was fine. It was fine.
You're fine.
Living my truth here, bud. Okay, so she buys him a burger, right? And then that's when they first like meet. And then later he sees her getting harassed by that same dude who harasses him, and he goes into hero mode randomly, which seemed out of character. It was like a really big jump in character for him. But again, he's like living on the street. He's probably reckless, and like that's how you guys would respond if I said that was weird, right?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, good. Moving on. And it turns out.
Wait. Before we move on,
Yeah.
how badly did you want a burger after seeing an animated burger?
I watched the
didn't occur
movie.
to
I
me.
watched the movie this morning.
Yeah.
It made me want McDonald's for lunch so
Yeah.
badly. So goddamn badly.
I
I really
recall.
wanted a Big Mac, and I don't usually get a Big Mac.
Yeah,
product
we did
placement
have
works, man.
burgers for dinner tonight, and they were fucking good.
Yeah.
What did
we
we
got
have?
it from
Burgers?
burgers. Okay, so
We're silly fox. Explain to them burgers.
just for our listeners and viewers, just so that you get a bit of context, we ordered from this place that said burgers, but they took all the vowels out.
Yeah, it's just called burgers.
Burgers.
Anyways, maybe we should order from McDonald's. Who knows? Okay, so anyways, in this scene, we find out she's an actual underage sex worker.
No. They were trying to recruit her.
To be an underage sex worker.
Well, he claims that he didn't know that she was underage, but she was also telling people that
yeah.
she was 18.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Anyways, it was just like that realization was not quick. And when I realized, I was like, oh shit, she's an underage sex worker. And like to the point where when he's defending her to them, she's like, I chose to do this. And now I'm like, she wanted to be an underage sex worker. And I mean, I know times are tough for some people and you got to do what you got to do. It just felt like out of place for this movie specifically to make that choice. Felt strange to me. It was the rest of the movie was like kind of wholesome, minus the guns.
But think about this though. She just got fired.
Yeah.
Right. And from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Probably because she lied on her thing.
And gave away a burger to some homeless kid.
Well, yeah, it's not because of the burger, right? Right. And so, what is a 15-year-old gonna be able to get? As an underage, youth.
Sure.
Like, what job is she gonna be able to get?
No, you're right. And like I said, circumstances be what they are sometimes.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
It just for this movie felt out of place. It was like a little jarring because there wasn't really anything that out there like that. You know what I mean?
But I think
controversial.
Again, I think the other thing too that you're missing is the cultural piece, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much of Japanese culture. Like there's a red light district in Tokyo,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I
and
believe
there's
it.
actually a lot of homeless youth.
Yeah.
There who do things like that. Like I watched an entire documentary on that.
Crazy.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think the fact that when you're watching these movies and not having that extra bit of knowledge of Japanese, I guess, the underbelly and grittiness of the society over there, like that's where you see, oh, this feels out of place when maybe for a Japanese audience it doesn't.
Yeah, fair enough. And you're right. That's probably could be the case. It just not living in that world. Never seen anything like that in a movie like this. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
It's controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then he's fighting them, and he goes for straight headshot. Murder. He goes for the murder.
No,
right away, murder.
No, but he didn't know. He didn't know. He.
What do you mean he didn't know?
Okay, he had an inkling that it might have been a real gun.
Dude.
He like, if
It
you're
felt like a warning shot to me.
Yeah.
I felt like he was.
He looked really
intentionally-
surprised when he didn't hit the guy.
no, he was
I think he was
surprised that it
surprised
was real.
at how it felt to shoot
Yeah.
a fucking gun. He'd never shot a gun before, and then I think the point to him was he wanted to prove to the guy that this gun is real, and I will fucking shoot it.
Okay. It's to me, it looked like he like tried to murder the guy, and maybe I was wrong. But that's when you watch a scene like that, you could take it different ways, I guess.
Yeah.
It looked like a murder scene to me.
Well, I mean, the last one when he has the gun for
He
the second
again
time
goes for murder.
That's when I would agree with you.
Yeah.
He was ready to murder.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Or at least like maim.
Yeah, true. What was crazy also after that almost murder is that like she's not really even that phased or scared. In fact, she's like angry. Whereas like a regular girl would be like running and screaming because a gun just got fired and a person almost died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's not a regular girl.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, that's true. I guess she's like mature for her age and she has
Raising
to
a
be.
younger brother on
That's
her
true.
own. Hiding
And who
from
knows
child
how many
services.
guns she's seen fired off before.
She's hiding from child services, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another funny one. There was like a massive water bubble in the sky that these two kids discovered.
Yeah.
And they go to look at it and it dumps on them. They're dead in real life, right? In that little alley with that much water falling on them. Or at least like severely injured. Right? That's a lot of water.
That's the magic. That's the magic. You know what? I also agree that, okay, before you start saying anything, I agree. It probably wasn't really a necessary scene. It just kind of added to the whimsiness of it.
Well, I actually think they needed that scene, and I actually think it wasn't enough because some of those water bubbles felt to me like they weren't being explained very well. Like, I understand inclement weather was happening.
Yeah.
But the concept of these just like massive bubbles appearing and dropping felt like just extra magic.
But it was like a
And I
little
was like, it would've-
salamander guy.
Was it? I
think
to me,
so.
it just looked like a giant ball of water that fell on these kids.
I think it was like a salamander kind of looking water
Okay.
creature.
I watched it on
Yeah.
a really shitty screen, so it's possible I didn't see that.
That just makes me mad.
Hey, I still appreciated the art, to be fair, like a lot.
I saw it in theaters and then 4K Blu-ray, so it's like,
It's probably really, really good.
Yeah.
I should probably try.
dude.
Yeah. Anyways, what I was going to say is like, again, it just felt like extra magic. To me, it would have been fine if the weather was just weather. You know what I mean? And if the like ocean, fish and whatever stayed either around her up in the sky, they didn't need to just be like randomly occurring bits of magic. And it
Yeah.
was only those water bubbles that were randomly occurring. If there was fish appearing in random places and other magical weather appearing random places,
Yeah.
then okay. But it was just giant water bubbles.
No,
No, the little
there was
boy sees the
yeah.
little boy on the windowsill sees the,
Oh, you're
the
right.
fish.
Yeah.
You're right.
They have them. They have their
Fuck
little
me, man.
Fucking real good.
All right. Okay. All right. So they start a business for her powers, right?
Yes.
And so she like dissipates the rain for a fee.
Yeah.
That's her
Yeah.
job now, right?
Yes.
And there's this cute little ghosty character, which was very merchable. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there's like all sorts of merch about that little.
No, that's
little
another
ghosty character.
cultural thing. Like I think it's a charm that they make in Japan.
Oh, like a little ghosty thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Neat. So right away when they start this business, I'm like, this is a bad idea. Because she's either going to get kidnapped for science or exploited some way, right? But that never happened.
Yeah.
Which again made it feel like not a real Earth because they're like in a real life scenario. If someone has this like magic power when magic powers aren't like common,
Yeah.
you're like, that's going to be a big deal.
Okay,
And at the very least,
yeah.
the tabloid writers are going to like jump all over that and write a ton of articles and exploit the shit out of her. And that never happened. You know, now granted, they're good dudes. They're good people. So maybe they like caught onto that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, right away I was like, she's going to get fucking owned.
Yeah, this
this.
is my way of explaining all that away. Is
You love to do that, eh?
it's just that like people just hire her as like a good luck charm, and it just happened to be like that.
Yeah.
and it's just they just all kind of chalk it up to it being a coincidence,
Maybe.
an odd coincidence.
Yeah, one guy paid her a shit ton, like, and was so amazed that it happened, and then gave her a bunch of extra money and went, "It's a tip because you're cute."
yeah, that
And I
one
was
was
like,
weird.
"That's really fucked," and also sexual harassment, and also she literally magicked the rain away. Give her a tip for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like if you're like actually hiring, okay, first of all, it's kind of weird to hire a weather priest,
Yeah.
with a fucking crayon logo,
Yeah. I mean, I guess like if I'm gonna put my weeb hat on, which is
Yeah.
like a very small hat, I'm gonna say like that kind of implies, and I should just accept that it's
Yes.
a world where like magic is kind of an accepted thing, and
Yes.
the fact that she can do it is not surprising to people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the same world where you had the fucking Freaky Friday with
Yeah.
the gender bending twist.
Sure, but in that was not accepted by other people. When he was telling people that was happening, they were like, I don't know about you, man.
Because that's a next level of magic. This one's a bit more acceptable.
okay,
Yeah,
so there's levels of acceptable magic.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
We're
being
gonna
able
hold
to stop
hands.
the
Let's
weather.
hold hands.
Okay. This job is also a perfect setup for a wicked montage scene. And you get a great montage of her like running around town and praying the weather away. And it's kind of cute. Which like, I guess is like part and parcel for an animated film like this.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so she's in love with her job. She says that outright. And Hodaka's in love with her. And so there's like this weird like non mashing up of their feelings, which again later on gets like gets settled up where they do kind of fall in love. But it was weird that she would say that when he's falling in love with her, as if she doesn't give a shit about him. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think falling in love with somebody is going to be your first like thing on the priority list,
unless you're Hodaka and he does right a fuck away.
No, I mean I'm talking about her.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like,
well, she's dealing with a lot of shit.
Yeah,
she's turning into a rainbow. She's fucking making the rain go away. Yeah, it was crazy. So here's where we'll get into a like gripe I have, that I feel like the love story was kind of overblown. Like I get that they grew feelings, but they made it such a main part of the story. Whereas to me, the like Sunshine Girl rain element was a better story than their love. Personally, right? And
I think you needed both. I really think you needed both.
You needed them to care about each other.
Yeah.
I don't think you needed kind of a half-assed love arc, to be honest with you. Because again, if we're going to compare to Your Name, the way they kind of fell for each other was so massively involved. Like they were like tangled and intertwined. And in this movie, they kind of just ran into each other by happenstance. You know what I mean? She buys a homeless kid a burger. They start a business together. Like that's a cocaine romance. Do you know what I mean?
That's fucked.
I'd say that is.
Hey, well, like, I mean, what was this movie rated? Like PG-14?
It's not a real cocaine romance.
No.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, no.
But like, again.
But I'm just saying, okay, like, but that's another part is like the allure, and this is the director's kind of view on always having some sort of love in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, but I don't like that. I don't like things for their sake. I don't like love for love's sake. And so like, again, they could have just been really great friends. You know what I mean?
I do agree. I would have accepted either or, to be honest.
If we're going to make a parallel to a movie you just told me you hated with a passion, we're going to talk about Star Wars for a second. Because Mikey doesn't like Star Wars. I don't even know this.
No. Okay, before all you Star Wars fans come at me, Empire's still the best one. I love Empire.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just saying that they are not all as incredible as everybody makes him out to be, like this motherfucker here. Okay. You have self-proclaimed that you are a Star Wars apologist.
I am, and I love Star Wars.
You love it blindly as much as I love anime as blindly. Yeah. Actually, you probably love it more blindly than I love anime.
It's possible.
Right? Like,
can I make my point now?
Yes.
Okay. So my point is, in Star Wars as an example, you have Rey and you have Finn. And they have this intense relationship, but it's not love related, and it's fucking wonderful. And this movie would have been great if they were like just really cared for each other and were like super important to each other, but didn't need to fall in love. Yeah, I would have liked it better. Personally,
I agree with you, because I do think that would have made it a little bit better, because it is a little tropey.
Yeah, exactly, and that kind of bothered me. But you know, again, we're nitpicking a fine movie. That's fine.
All right. Do you have any? Let's go with final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I have a lot. I wanted to give it a higher score than I did in the end. But comparing it to Your Name, like, was inevitable, dude. Yeah. And like in the end, like the end of the movie was two kids fucked the world up for a love story that was kind of bland.
So back to because we're still stuck on the love thing. If you love someone that much, as a 16-year-old, right, and 15-year-old, whatever, you are so egocentric. Yeah, I totally believe that they would fuck the world up.
You don't have to like it though.
To me, like I like that it kind of subverted expectations, where you're just like, nah, like, you know, they'll pick the world, and then the world will reward them with each other for making the right decision. Like that's where you think it goes, but they're just like, nah, fuck no. They loved each other so goddamn hard. They didn't care at all. They didn't give a damn. And love won for once. Yeah. Love actually won out. You know what I mean? And it all ties in with the fact that, like, this is just another star-crossed lovers story. Yeah. And that the love is, I know it feels half-baked, but like the love is really the story is them each finding love and purpose and reason for existing. You know what I mean? Like, Hina even says it to Hodaka, like, you know, that he saw her and she found purpose all of a sudden when he saw her, and like they gave each other a reason to exist and to continue living. That manifested as love. You think that would have been better as friendship? I think it would have been fine as friendship. I don't know if it would have been better.
It would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been
Jay
better.
said.
It would have been. Jay's been so quiet actually a lot this episode, and now he's just fucking coming out hot.
No, I'm just saying like that.
Jay
That's
said.
I think ultimately what this is, and the magic muddies it up a little bit.
And you know, I agree with you, and I'm okay with that if the love story was as strong as Taki and Mitsuha, and it wasn't there for me.
Sure.
And so the fact that they hung their hat on love story and the love story just wasn't that great, there was a disconnect between that ending and the middle chunk of the movie where it was about their love story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if Your Name had an opportunity to fucking flood the world for their love, I'm all about it. You know what I mean? But in this movie, it felt like irresponsible, and like, yeah, I know they're kids, and I know they're egocentric, but like, yeah, I didn't believe their love to the point where I like was like, yeah, okay, fuck the world for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, also at the end of the day, like Jay was saying, how often are we seeing that trope? Like, you know, you do the right thing and you get rewarded for it. Mm-hmm. That's not how the real world works, right? Like, you do the right thing, you're gonna get the consequences of whatever that's going to look like. It could be being rewarded, but most of the time it's just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you want something, you have to take it.
Yeah, usually, right? So I'm all for fucking up the world.
For love.
For love.
Yeah.
For love, man.
Yeah.
It's all about the love.
Also, like, I mean, I know we're trying to wrap up here, but just like no mention at all of her disappearing on the bed.
I was gonna get to that, but Mikey said, "Hey, any final thoughts?"
Okay. Actually,
We skipped over the last chunk of the movie.
Okay, so
okay.
let's go with that one, because I also want to talk about the throwback, because that was fun.
What throwback are you talking about?
Seeing Taki and Mitsuha in the movie.
Wait, I didn't even notice that. When was that happening?
Are you?
God, dude.
Are you fucking kidding
Dude,
me?
I didn't.
Right? Oh, I have to take my headphones off for a second. Wow.
What scene and when?
Hold on. We're gonna make you sit in this for a second.
Yeah, okay.
How big was it? Like, how long were they on the screen for? How
Bro,
obvious was
do
it?
you remember a scene where they were sitting down talking to an old lady and a young boy in the yard, and they were having a conversation, and Hodaka was being told, "Hey, you should buy her a ring. Maybe that would be a good idea."
Yeah,
He was having a conversation with a young man.
Vaguely.
A young man named Taki.
I don't remember that.
Where they make the fucking fire. That whole scene is him
In the backyard when they make the fire?
That's Taki,
That's
bro.
Taki.
I didn't know that.
And when he goes to buy the ring,
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's Mitsuha.
At the store?
It
From
says
the lady?
it on her name tag.
she's got the red. She's got the red ribbon in her hair.
I just missed it.
Dude,
I missed it.
I cannot believe, for a fucking Your Name fan, you are a fucking terrible
Dude,
Your Name fan.
Dude, the movie
Yeah.
theater fucking screamed and clapped
Yeah.
at both of those parts, man.
I'm sad now.
I'm sad for you.
I'm like, I've never had to take off my headphones. I had to take off my headphones.
I took them off twice in the last episode.
Yeah, like I
I thought that was going to be one of the most redeeming things about this movie was that you got to see
If I
Taki
saw
and
it,
Mitsuha.
it might have been. And you know what you guys are going to get out of that having happened is that now I have to watch it again.
Yeah. Here, we'll watch it here. I bought it, so like, we'll watch it here on my
Hell
TV.
yeah.
So,
Hell yeah.
like, but yeah, dude, I am so fucking surprised you missed that.
I missed it, dude.
I'm literally in shock right now. That I thought that was gonna be the one point that you were gonna be like, fuck.
I would. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I would have.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But yeah, man, that
Yeah.
but going back to that
sweating.
that scene, like the robe drop, you know what I mean? When she all of a sudden just was like, I'm gone. And she just sacrifices herself like that.
Yeah.
And then, she's looking at him while he's sleeping, and she's just like, don't cry. Like, he's like,
That was a nice scene.
Yeah.
Man, when that robe dropped, dude, that was like pen drop
It
moments.
wasn't for me though.
Yeah.
It wasn't because you already knew that was happening to her.
Yeah, but you didn't know
You didn't
when.
know, and you didn't know she was going
No.
to make the decision to do it right then and there
Yeah.
before he even woke up and got to say bye.
I think we're back in the conversation of if I had seen this before I'd seen Your Name, I might have got pen drop vibes from the robe drop.
Okay.
But
Okay, fair.
But the pen drop was just. It's my misery signals of malice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's my heavy album that I don't need to listen to other heavy albums.
I still think the pen drop is the bigger moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Sure.
I agree. I'm just
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
it had shades of that.
Shades.
And then
But my point is this whole movie had shades of Your Name.
sure.
That's just my point.
yeah,
Fucking,
but
you
it's
better
good,
write
it's
I
good
love you
feels.
on my hand now.
It's good
No,
feels.
that's not what I'm gonna do.
Why?
I don't know. Because maybe if I write my actual name, then it will work out better.
And then when he's falling through the clouds at the end, and he catches her, and
Yes.
they pull each other close, and they're just like, and then he tells her, he's like, this time pray for you.
Yeah. It was nice.
Bro.
It was nice.
Come on, man.
It was
this
nice.
time pray for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, again,
what Jay said.
I don't know, man.
What Jay said.
Really?
It might come down to headspace. I don't know what to tell you. It just didn't have the same kind of emotional response from me that your name had. When you're explaining how you felt about it, I see that it did that to you, and I remember what it did to me when I saw it in your name.
In the moment,
it just didn't do it, man.
Crazy.
It just didn't do it.
Crazy.
Okay.
I'm sad that it didn't now. I'm really sad. I'm
sad
gonna watch
for
it
you.
again, and I'm gonna try really hard.
I'm
gonna try really hard.
Dude, I recommended this thinking it was going to be an easy slam dunk. You were going to love
That's
it.
what I thought too. Like, I mean, maybe not as high as your name, to be honest. Like,
sure.
Again, my prediction was like you were gonna love it, but like it wasn't gonna hit as hard as your name.
I thought it'd
but
be
it was gonna
right
up there.
behind your name. The
Yeah,
same way
like,
it
at
is
least
for
number
me.
two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, since we're still talking about the ending there,
Yeah.
I like that they didn't use the fucking handcuffs, even though I really wanted him to.
What do you mean handcuffs?
Remember when he's trying to catch her in the air and she's falling and they accidentally like let go.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Don't let go." And I'm like, "Just put the fucking handcuff on her."
Interesting.
Yeah, but then they didn't,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "That's probably more realistic." Because in that moment, I'm falling fucking.
You're not going to think about that.
Yeah.
And he's coming from an emotional place,
Yeah.
not a practical place.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm not falling through the skies.
Yeah. Also, like, just one last thing about that scene. Maybe I don't even need to bring it up, but like, she was supposed to be a sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
So when she's up on that weird grassy island up in the sky, is that like the afterlife? Is she dead? And he goes and takes her from the afterlife and brings her back?
No, sorry.
I think it's just like beyond.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I think it's just like a realm
plane.
beyond.
Yeah. I guess you don't need to put terms on it like I always have to do.
Yeah, you're learning.
Yeah.
You can just accept things for what it is, even though it doesn't. You don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Also, I think like Western culture like teaches us to look at things super binary, as in like you have here, you have the afterlife, and you have limbo.
And I have that problem.
You're in one of the three.
Yeah.
Whereas like in Japan, it's like there's planes of existence and spirituality.
Yeah, you could just be in a spot
and
that's not where you
dimension.
were.
It's like there's so many.
Yeah.
It's not just 1, 2, or 3. There's like 12.
Yeah.
So they're going into a plane of existence that's related to the weather and those what the weather gods and like the dragon and the fish and all that, right?
Yeah.
That's its own
I hear you on that.
realm.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
We have this weird innate feeling to categorize things, right?
Sure.
And then not categorizing something is almost freeing in its way.
Yeah.
And do you know what that's called?
What is it called?
Acceptance.
oh wow.
Okay. Am I safe to assume that you guys are like solid 8s, 8.5s?
Oh, for me, I would put this at like 8.
Okay, good guess. I will tell you that my rating of this movie has gone on a fucking ride.
Okay.
Because I watched the movie and I put it down at around a 6.
Okay.
And then when I was making my notes and going over all the fucking nitpicky things, they got worse in my mind. And so I dropped it a score to 5. And now after having talked to you guys, I think I'm going to bump it up because now I'm excited to watch it again. Do you know what I mean? And you've evoked some feelings in me that weren't there when we started recording. I don't know. And so like I'm gonna go and just slam it a 7, and hopefully that on a second watch it holds up to that mark.
That's a good score. I can
like
go.
that.
I can accept that score.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you like, you know, hear what we say and that you're willing to give things like a second go. Or like
That's
a
not
second
normal
shot.
for me.
Yeah.
Don't get used to it.
No, but I listen, man. I don't like some of my confusion, I guess, as to why you didn't like this. Like, it's genuine confusion because like I think you should, man. In so many ways, knowing what you like and knowing what you appreciate.
Yeah, you love slice of life shit, man.
If
I
there's
do.
and I know you said you were already going to, but I do think that if there's ever time for a second look on one, I think this might be it.
And
man.
honestly,
There's more
like
for this,
for
more
the
for
record,
you in this.
I was caught off guard as well at what happened when I watched this movie, because I also expected for what you guys expected to happen also. And I don't know.
Just the fact that you missed Taki and Mitsuai in the movie, man.
Yeah.
That's why I kept saying it's the same universe.
Yeah.
And I thought you knew what I was talking about, but you didn't.
You kept saying throwback, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know about throwback.
This entire time I'm talking to myself.
He's saying how like the world isn't that blown away by her powers because they've already seen this whole thing go on.
And he
with
goes,
fucking...
that's just another level of power.
Yeah.
At one moment, he goes, yeah, it's the same world as your name. I was like, I guess. I was like, I guess we can assume that. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, guys, like, I'm a human. And like, when I watched this movie, maybe I just wasn't able to give it the same attention that I gave your name. And maybe that was where I fell short. Who knows?
Stop making notes, man, and just watch the goddamn movie. Stop trying to multitask.
Yeah, it's hard, but we'll see. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Alrighty. So, Jay, where can people find you, buddy?
Hanger91.bigcartel.com. I don't have any Weathering With You stuff.
But he's got initial D shit up the ass.
Yeah.
I got initial D stuff.
Inuyasha.
I got Inuyasha stuff. I got Ninja Scroll stuff.
Yeah,
I got
this fucking
He's got dope shit.
Yeah.
I got shit, guys. Just
Gundam.
come see
He's
it.
got dope shit.
Guys, just come see it. Trust me, you'll love it. I promise.
You will. I also promise. Yeah.
Jordy, how about you, buddy?
I'm reaching in on Instagram, and you can see me doing a bunch of various things there.
Yeah. I like cats. I like toys. Korean Barbecue 86 and on Instagram.
There you go.
Love you guys.
Love you,
my
Shweebs.
Shweebs.
Peace out, Shweebs.